All you gotta do is just speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer so rough. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me know what's that me if it go flee. Me have to take away me say. Me have to take away me say. Me have to hide like a thief in the night. Me have to get out of sight. Me have to take away me say. Have to take away me say. I have to utilize I weeds. Shorty I cleave her eyes.
Greetings, kings and queens. Welcome to another Real Stuff podcast. Today is Friday, and when it's Friday, it's Poetry Corner. And today, our Poetry Corner guest is none other than Cyndi Celeste, and she will be our Poetry Corner guest. I got Flavius here with me this morning. Max Bennett and Francine is out today, so stick and stay. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
I like a thief in the night. Me have to get out of sight. Me have to take away myself. Take away myself. I have to utilize I weeds. Show the eye a clean pair of heels. I say.
Top of the morning, Flavius. Top of the morning. How you doing this morning?
Yeah, good morning, Franco. Good morning, listeners and viewers. We're doing very well. You know, we have a bright outlook this morning, as opposed for all the week. We've been having
good weather.
You know?
You've been having good weather.
Yeah, man. We're not doing badly at all.
Okay. That's good. Well, on my side, you know, not going to give you no weather forecast because guess what? My weather is unpredictable in Florida. So it just swing. It's a swing weather. So it's sunny this morning, but maybe in the next few hours get, slightly overcast and then rain.
Yes.
So what else happening in your neck of the woods? I know this weekend all of your school closed.
Yeah, it should be, yeah.
All right. This week, today actually is the last day of school for all the schools in Jamaica. Yeah, today.
But yesterday on the news, they were speaking the event on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody saying it went well, they had a lot of space. And the soca.
Or the soca party.
Fest that they had on Wednesday.
Yeah. Soca fest.
Yeah.
It went well, right?
That's what they said, yes.
I told you so.
They said it well, yeah.
All right.
Although you have, it is not 100% because you have some people who wasn't conforming and all that, but for the most part, it went well, yes.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Well, before we bring in our guest, I'm just gonna, play something, one of her poetry piece, and then, we're gonna bring her in, give her an early start this morning. All right?
Yeah, wonderful.
Black people ain't the only ones that been living without our roots. Those unripe fruits they reap by backcombing their entitlement, trying to create afros without the hardship, caricaturing the symbol of black existence, teasing tension into their experience that they know nothing about. Can I touch your hair, black girl? They say the highest form of flattery is imitation. But am I still meant to feel complimented when it becomes cultural appropriation? Can I touch your hair, black girl, black Medusa? I wanna know how them coils be casting spells. How that black girl nappy curl magic be flipping the script. hypnotizing the menfolk and turning white hearts into stone statues. Can I touch your hair, black girl, black and Samsonite? I wanna know how it marries religion and science. I wanna know how that fro has such an undying devotion to defying gravity. How it tells every comb to genuflect. How it can bring the sinners to their knees. How it always seems to be wearing its Sunday best. I wanna have a faith as strong as your hair, black girl. I wanna hear the stories them strands could string together. But they want us to relax, black girl. They don't want us to retell, black girl. They don't want the reminders, black girl. Can I tame your hair, black girl? I only want to reverse engineer you for the sake of familiarity. Only want to break you down to your component parts so I can see your secrets properly. They only care about our coils as another one of their commodities. Take the Zulu out of your bantu knots and call them mini buns for profits. Make us into a fashion trend from our roots to our ends when they quick to rock them full locks and call the real things knots. And ain't it funny? Ain't it amazing how people historically obsessed with whips and chains and bondage got the audacity to kink shame you, black girl? Can I see your hair, black girl? It's just as easy to jack your culture when you hide from it. But I wanna know why it seems to take up so much space. Don't know why it always forgets its place, black girl. Remember when they told you to keep it under wraps? And up to now they still trying to 1786 the sass. Put that thing on and remember that the class you're in is a function of the color of your skin. Keep quiet, black girl. Damn. Why everything about your hair gotta be a throwback? When they just want us to relax, black girl. They don't want us to recall, black girl. They don't want the reminders, black girl. They done already gentrified generations of traditions to try and sugarcoat mass murder and plantation labor. Slap designer labels on our struggles like they still trying to turn us, human beings, into capital, and we ain't the ones reaping the profit margins. Cause cultural appropriation is the currency they pay us reparations in. They have taken from us, and they still taking. Taking our cornrows and calling them boxer braids, anything to see us erased, black girl. They want to force us to forget. But I remember, black girl. I remember the brawn in them braids and how it ain't got nothing to do with boxing thinking and everything to do with breaking the box with our bare hands. I remember, black girl, how they tried to claw tie our heads, how we adorned the shackles they made for our hair with bright colors and beads, how we wear our history in our hearts, on our heads and on our sleeves. It ain't a thing y'all no more. Now when we put that thing on, we breathe free. Our crown is revolutionary. So let me ask you, can we love our hair, black girl?
Cyndi Celeste is a spoken word poet, writer, and creative entrepreneur based in Barbados. She's an art activist and language advocate who uses literature and performance to encourage social discourse on issues of identity, both on page and on stage. Cyndi works contextualizes what it is to be young, black, and progressive in the Caribbean, often exploring themes of racism, gender, language, and cultural identity. A graduate of the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill campus, Linguistics program, Cyndi has received several accolades, including a National Independent Festival of Creative Arts, Bronze Award in Writing and Performance, second place in the inaugural Black British Writers International Poetry Competition, and a world ranking of 21 in the Women of the World Poetry Slam 2021. She has coordinated several community outreach projects, including youth open mic nights, developmental workshops in the schools, and community writing workshops. She has also released an album of her work entitled Syndicated, and her writing has been published in volume 35 of the Caribbean Writer Literary Journal. The Real Stuff Podcast. Welcome today, Cyndi Celeste. Top of the morning, Cyndi. Top of the morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you this morning?
I am great and wonderful and blessed and highly favored.
All right. So let me dive right into business with you this morning. Right, when I say dive
Mhm.
right into business, you are indeed. I'm gonna. Oh, what the word flavors? What the word you used yesterday when you saw the picture? Cause I'm looking at a picture of you, right? The one that I have on the flyer. Matter of fact, and that picture says a lot to me. That's why I colorize it like that. The words, if you notice, your fingernails, the color, your bow tie,
Yes.
everything accessorized. I fell in love with the picture because I've never seen anyone taking a picture with their hat set sideways. Mine is turned back way on my head, a matter of fact. So, tell us some more about your poetry.
What is there to say that my poetry doesn't say for itself? I think a lot of my poetry deals with um Black identity and Caribbean identity because
Uh-huh.
I think that there needs to be a lot more representation of Caribbean voices in the international market. I don't see a lot of representation. When I first got into poetry, besides the Barbadian voices that I heard in Barbados, I wasn't hearing a lot of representation on the international market. And I really wanted to change that.
Uh-huh.
And part of that is informing people and welcoming people into the fray of what it is like to be a person that lives in Barbados, a
Okay.
poet that lives in Barbados, a creator that lives in Barbados. And so that's really what my poetry aims to do.
Uh-huh.
Talk about the Caribbean experience, talk about the experience of being Afro-Caribbean, and yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
True, true. So, how long have you been, writing and performing? At what age you are, If you notice, I skip over your date of birth. I didn't want to release. I didn't want to release that, so I skip over it.
I've been writing since I was about 15, which
Uh-huh.
would be, well, I think people will do the math, but
Uh-huh.
the first piece I ever wrote, I also was the first piece I also performed.
Uh-huh.
It was also the first piece I ever performed, and that was in 2013. And it was called Lyrical Frustration.
Yeah.
And it was about, it was literally just me being frustrated that I couldn't find any music to listen to
Uh-huh.
to study with. And after that, I kept going to open mics in the community and stuff like that. And that's where my poetry developed, really, just underground open mics and youth open mics.
Yeah, I'm a lover of open mics. I love open mics because I think
Me too. So many things can happen at an open mic.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
never know what to expect, and it's always something new.
So. With the youths open mics, how is the response? And the reason why I'm asking you that because presently we are preparing a youth launch, call it Caribbean Youth Voices, and I'm guessing we can have you aboard to help us get the Caribbean youths into our fold. So.
That sounds absolutely wonderful. Here in Barbados, actually, I did not know that there were other young poets, that there were so many other young poets at the time that I started doing poetry. I had known there were one or two from going to our National Independence Festival of Creative Arts here in Barbados. That's every November. But I'd only ever seen like two people. And so I thought it was really only myself and two other people. And then at the Barbados Community College, there was an event, a monthly event called Poetry Line, which was a space that was created by young poets for young poets. And all of a sudden, there were 20, 30 poets that just came out of the blue, came out of the woodworks. And Poetry Line continued from I think that was 2016 to maybe early 2019. And it just kept growing and giving the space to youth to use their voices. And the response was always great. We had probably 60 to 80 people from 2016 to maybe 2018. We had 60 to 80 people consistently coming to engage with youth spoken word. And since 2019, the end of 2019 more so, and obviously 2020 and 2021, the pandemic has kind of put a stop to it, unfortunately. And we've had to look for other ways. We have a lot of virtual open mic spaces now that are not necessarily specifically for youth, but do welcome youth to perform.
Oh, okay.
But the response is good in terms of how many poets come out, and then also the support for us. I think it's good.
Have you ever met the Rhyme Minister?
Yes. Rhyme Minister is a very dear friend of mine. Actually, he hosts one of the open mics the virtual open mics that we frequent. So it's always wonderful because usually what happens is it's all a family, and we all try to make sure that space exists for poets to come and do their thing. So big shout out to Rhyme Minister.
Yeah, man. Big shout out to him this morning, Rhyme Minister. Yeah, man. Today we have you as our Poetry Corner guest. So you're gonna fling down today. You're gonna throw down some poems for us. And the one I want to hear, you mentioned that you couldn't find no music when you were studying. You were lyrically frustrated?
Lyrical frustration. Oh my goodness, that's a throwback. That's a throwback.
Throwback is good, man. Throwback is good. Take it down memory lane. How it all started? Or you put that piece together? Because you say you couldn't find nothing that entice you during your studies.
I really couldn't, and this is what happened. It's usually a very funny story when I tell it. So I was sitting in math class. I will never forget. I was sitting in math class, and I was preparing to do CXCs, CXC examinations, which is the Caribbean Regional examination.
Yeah.
And so we had come down to the end of the school year, and we'd finished syllabus and all that sort of stuff, the curriculums. We finished all of that. And so my math teacher came in class, and she said, I have nothing else to teach you. If you have any questions, I'm here for you to ask, but otherwise you can do some quiet study. And so I took the opportunity to take out my MP3 and flip through the radio stations. So I could study, because I study with music. And while I'm there flipping through radio stations, it was a lot of party music, which is not bad. I mean, there's a time and a place for it. But it was a lot of party music. I was really looking for something that I could study with. So something a little more, slow paced, something that I didn't feel the need to pay too much attention to. But all I could hear was party music. Yeah. And so instead of studying, for some reason, I decided to write a poem. Or rather, a poem decided to come out of me, because I don't think saying I decided to write a poem is completely accurate, given that when I started out, I really was just writing down the fact that I was frustrated.
True.
So then lyrical frustration was born, and I found myself writing for the entire 40-minute period of class. And that class was right before lunch. So I ran out to my friends, and I said, I think I wrote something really cool.
Sure.
And voila, lyrical frustration was born.
Lyrical frustration.
Yep, it'd be really interesting to see how much of it I remember.
Yes. Well, the floor is all yours. So whatever you can remember, just throw it down. And if you don't remember no more, you just jump into something else.
Jump into something else. All right.
Whatever. I mean, it's your floor this morning. You mix it up. Whatever. You can do anything. It's freestyle. Just consider it. So a studio and the engineer say, just give me as much as you can give me this morning, and we just cut it up from there. Okay.
All right.
All right. Take it away.
Now, I don't usually struggle with words, but it seems that when I feel something so real, I can't find a way to say or to portray the things the heart thinks. And of course, I know it might be so for artists these days when they go and pen their praise, the craze, the haze that persuades the consumers to pay, but what have we been paying for? It used to be the true story, the allegory, the tale, the trail, the hoping and the coping, the parable, the fable, the pain, the gain. Now we got pumping and horning, a hearing, derogation, seeing, perversion, witnessing, miseducation, disintegrating the moral fabric of the nation, generations, the perpetrations, vexations, and instigations merely cause the lyrical frustration at life. Nothing is sacred no more. Was this a hearing about heifers and hoes? No, the last time I checked, a heifer is a female cow. And the hoe is a garden tool for turning soil. It represents the struggle and the toil of the black man and the white man. The psyche want to be whips with licks, and we don't be understanding about whips and chains, etc. When sure we are still we and perpetuating like the people on TVs and in magazines, really. Instead of shining bright like an island, we shining like expensive diamonds. But diamonds that refract, and everything that glitters ain't gold, so we falling in the trap. But blind to the bundle of crap we doing, brainwashed by the sack that we hear. I hear in derogation, seeing perversion, witnessing miseducation, disintegrating the moral fabric of the nation, generations, connotations, limitations, and condemnations nearly cause me lyrical frustration, and it can't be just me. I can't be the only body that I see what I'm seeing. Because it ain't just the words now, it's the rhythm. Let's make the girls' waistlines work and jerk and twerk and rotate like clockwork. It perverse, just giving fellas reasons to trick the verse. Now, don't call me sucker, don't get me wrong, I like my social worker. But it's the grind and bump and the thing that look like a dry hump that's got my head messed up. But how I could blame them? These crass and crude gyrations is a result of misdirection, misinstruction, tools of mental destruction, is a cry of desperation, and all we have to do is listen. But we don't like the cold hard truth. We would rather point fingers at the youth and complain that they ain't got no clue when the truth is in the four fingers pointing back at you. Because lead by example is just the same. It no longer comes into being. We are no longer seeing the signs hidden in plain sight. We choosing what feel right over what is right. I mean, it caught my chest tight because all I see is perversion. The indignation of the nation imprisoned by the vice of self-satisfaction. I hear in derogation, seeing perversion, witnessing miseducation, bringing the disintegration and the transformation of the moral fabric of the nation, generations, the gyrations and movementations merely cause me lyrical frustration. What ever happened to pride or industry? How can we distinguish what a Barbadian is in reality? Is it operating under the pretense that we possess common sense or due diligence or some form of intelligence as a recompense of ignorance? I thought Crop Over was a celebration. The culmination of hours of dedication and buckets of perspiration is seeing the last cane free from earth. Instead, it is degradation, perversion, miseducation, but I hope that my vexation encourages a cultural and a lyrical education. That's it.
Okay.
I got through it. I did. The whole thing.
So let me ask you. Did you put that
Yes.
to wax? Have you put it to wax? When we say wax, we mean vinyl. You go in the studio and you get it recorded.
I did not. I actually entered it in the National Independence Festival of Creative Arts, NIFCA. And I don't think I did very well. I don't think I did very well. And after that, I got a little bit discouraged because I thought it was because the work wasn't good. Because at the preliminaries of judging, it said it was really good content, but the way I was performing it wasn't really working.
Okay.
And I think I performed it pretty much the same way in the semifinals, which is why it didn't get further. And at the time, I wasn't self-aware enough to understand the critiques that the judges were giving.
Okay.
So I took it to heart, and I was like, I'm not going to share my poems anymore. I'm not doing this. This is a dumb idea. So I never actually put it to wax, as you see.
Really can't put it to wax now. All time something come back again. You know,
that's true.
Lyrically, it's strong. It's strong to me lyrically, you know, because it have a message in it, you know. And I think maybe now you would perform it much better, you know, compared to what you did back then. Because you have the place under fire. Right, Minister, burn down the chat room right now. but moving on. We're not moving on. I want to know more about the youths because you're a. I don't want to say you're a youth activist, but you're an activist. You're an
Mhm.
entrepreneur as well too. We'll soon touch on that because I want what closing line you have and cosmetics, etc., etc. But how you find adults respond to youths nowadays? Because a lot of them have negative I'm gonna say misconcept of the youths. Sometimes I was told way back in the days in a psychology class that our first impression of anyone we meet is always classified as bullshit until
Mm,
when you get to know it's classified as shit until you get to know the person, then you're gonna say, oh, it's the coin flip.
yeah.
So
Um, the response, oof, that I think that can go both ways.
mhm, mhm,
There are, I think the time that we exist in now is one where youth are galvanizing their voices to incite change, to call into question some of the things that we think just don't make any sense and how we can change them and move forward as a society. And because of what our history looks like, there's a variety of responses. And you're right, one of those is fairly negative, like, wanna know come why it is y'all feel that y'all have the space to say this sort of stuff. And I think too that the assumption is that because of our age, we don't have the wisdom and experience to be able to critique, to be able to say this needs to change, etc. But at the same time, there are people who are willing to listen. I think that they're in the minority, unfortunately, but I think there are people who are willing to listen and say, you know what, let's try it this way, because the time that we are in is a revolutionary time.
okay.
And I actually, so I ended up somewhere along the lines of my career. I think that was 4 years later. I did NIFCA again,
Mhm,
and it was it was a piece that was from the perspective of a millennial dealing with this issue of politicians in the Caribbean talking about brain drain and complaining about brain drain.
mhm,
And I remember standing up on stage at the NIFCA Gala performing this piece, and there was somebody in the front row that was like, aren't you afraid you get deported? While I
mhm,
was performing, just
mhm,
shouted it out. She ain't afraid she get deported, because what I was saying seemed so like charged.
mhm.
But I wanted people to be able to understand. I wanted older people especially to be able to understand what goes on in the mind of a young person when they just decide to leave their country. And
Mhm.
I'm assuming, because I've mentioned it, that I should perform it so that so
Yeah.
that we have context. So ain't it funny how much people like to complain about brain drain?
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong, I ain't saying it in a thing, but don't we also like to say that insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting the outcome to change? Because the reality is the outcome ain't get changed unless we try to change it.
Mhm.
So until then, it was seen like we stick. Because like my brother would say, we psychotic to keep falling for the same old tricks. It's just that young people decide that then we get caught up in a mix. So people
Mhm.
just get vexed and hit them with politics and call it brain drain. Give it a name that knows how to not cast blame, right?
Yeah.
But but wait, I really should start this story from the top. Go back to a time before all the children are the future and follow your dreams, falsehood get dropped. Go back to when child first meets society, acquaints himself with country's history, and unknowingly grows up swaddled in small island mentality. Go back to a time when child had dreams bigger than self, dreams bigger than home, dreams of saving the planet. When I was 7, I wanted to be an astronaut, to go to the moon and see if it was really made of cheese or not, to get a chance to float among the stars because anything was possible. Until I was told to take my head out of the clouds. You see, you tend to learn quickly that in this society, you can't just be anything you want to be. come face to face with two-sided stipulations that say, be anything you want to be within reason. Make sure your big dreams aren't too big to fit small nations. So when I was 11, I wanted to be a pediatrician. And somehow that always seemed like a more widely accepted option, grounded in good decision to be an upstanding citizen making worthwhile contribution to Paradise Island. Dear person who complains about brain drain, I dare you to assess objectively why your best and brightest shun their so-called duty to give back to their community. Why the cream of the crop leave this country the first opportunity they get, because I don't really think we're going to get it yet. Because it sounds really good to want society to progress and to tell the young people to do their best and to stand on political platforms for all to see you rewarding greatness, but they're a person who complains about brain drain. Young people don't just wake up selfish. Ain't just born with entitlement wrapped around their necks. That's not how it works. It's a process. See, society suckles the young to the spirited song of pride and industry. So the first thing we know is how to live serving our country. So when I was 16, I wanted to study speech therapy because I recognized there was a need for it in my community, and I had already learned how to live serving Barbados wholeheartedly. And you would be surprised to see how many young people want to be exactly what is needed for the good of their country. Because we learn how to be Barbadian collectively before we think of individual identity. And frankly, I don't think young people get enough credit. And I was always taught you're supposed to give Jackie jacket, because you just can't seem to get young people tripped. Can't get them to fall into these pothole politics because we know we rate's too good to get caught up in the mix. So we stop succumbing to the cycles and try to break it. But even that is an uphill battle. When so many people around us choose to be cattle and passively sit by and wait for a miracle and then cast both blame and burden on these same young people who they say, them, they can't know nothing. Them no come. You see the problem? In case you haven't noticed, you can't train boomerang brains in a society that only knows how to throw, that doesn't know how to catch interest and keep it. The reality is that this country don't really seem to be the land of opportunity. Can only seem to turn potential energy into mediocrity, conformity, or intellectual exit strategy. In fact, if it was up to me, I might call it the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Limitation. Because unless you are one in a few of 250,000 who actually gets recognition for your vision, you are little other than lost in translation, lost in transition. And all you could do is sit down home and watch every politician on your television tossing around the words brain drain. But let me tell you something. Forward thinkers in a backwards glancing society can only breed stagnation through demotivation. So this nation of indignation will never seem to have appreciation for homegrown innovation. Because advancement cannot come from myopic vision. But it's real interesting how years later there's come a foreign organization to pitch the same ideas and government will sing their praise and admiration. Or sometimes I just wonder if government is just made up of self-important sycophants and indolent tyrants who stand in parliament and launch into ad hominem arguments and public development tirades that don't really amount to anything more than a gaseous charade. And at least we do better than the last party, his parade. But they complain more and more the less they get paid, even though they ignore complaints from public workers who ain't get a salary raise in over a decade. And it's a shame. We seem to want the best for our country in all the worst ways. We want to move forward, but seem to stagnate. We understand the need for sacrifices to be made, so we can send athletes overseas to train, but can't really accept the fact that their loyalties might change. Maybe that is why long-term thinking makes us millennials think that the best option is leaving. Because you can't really help somebody that don't want you helping. So their person who complains about brain drain, I know what I'm saying might make you feel a bit uncomfortable. You might think, oh wait, this young girl real cynical or she too emotional, but if you leave with absolutely nothing else, leave with this moral. The sink could only drain if some jackass pulled the plug. Thank you.
Well, this one is a bombshell.
Why, Cyndi? We have a thing in Jamaica we say wicked and wild. And the one that wicked and wild. You blow me away because I never even know you were in a transition. I have one of my co-hosts here with me this morning, Francine. Top of the morning. Come on in. Come on in, Francine.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Give me 2 minutes, 1 second. Good morning, Cyndi.
Good morning.
Cindy, let me ask you because when you do, I know open mic is really one of those moments a lot of poets or artists get away. When I say get away, them just flow, let them lyrics flow. You understand me? And it seems like you're really good at this. So when you're on a stage and you see your audience out in front of you, right? What is one of the things that you say you're gonna make sure you do before you leave, so that and next time when them see you, they will remember you and they will always be there? How you captivate them? Put it that way.
One of the major things that I try to do in my performance is leave the audience with, I guess, what is in the rap game called a quotable. I learned that recently. It's called a quotable.
All right.
So basically something that sums up the message of what I've been trying to say in a way that is so visceral that it sticks with them, that they cannot forget it. So that the next time they see me, even if they don't remember my name, they're like, you're the girl that said this. Because, so with something like brain drain, it would be, the saint can only drain if some jackass pulled the plug. That's something that even if you were not listening to the entire piece, if you hear the title of the piece, to those who complain about brain drain, and you hear the sink can only drain if some jackass pulled the plug, then in your mind you've created this linkage where you're like, okay. So you might want to hear the next piece I perform. You might want to know when I'm performing next. You might want to read something that I've written. So I try to leave the audience with something quotable that is visceral enough that it makes them want to watch or interact with not even just myself, but the poetry community in Barbados in general more.
True. Francine, you ready now?
Yes, I am ready. Good morning, Cyndi, again. Good morning.
Morning, Francine. How are you doing?
I am doing good. I was just rushing to get something out of the way just now. But let me ask you something. I'm not sure if this question was asked to you already. But I realized that you are definitely for young persons to enhance whatever it is, that as long as it's positive, and you allow them, you take the time out to ensure that things are going in a positive way in terms of they accept who they are in terms of color, race, and creed and stuff like that. Where did all of this come from on your side? Is it that you grew up in a society where you were able to accept your personality, your color, your gender, your language, and all of that from day one? So that's where it came from in terms of you putting it out there?
No, actually, I think it came from me going through a whole lot of dysphoria about who I was as a Bajan, who I am as a Caribbean person, who I am as a Black woman, all of that. And I think that my poetry comes from a place where I needed someone like me to say the things that I'm saying now in order to get to the point that I'm now at.
Right.
And because of that, and I learned this from a whole host of different places. A huge part of it is engaging with the rest of the poetry community, because I remember being 8 years old and going to the NIFCA gala with my mum and watching Adrian Green, Winston Farrell on the stage and thinking, I want to be able to do what these guys do. And I also remember thinking, I don't like how I speak. Why is it that I'm told to speak properly and it's not? So I've gone through a whole set of different struggles in terms of what my identity should look like. And in going through that, I felt the need to talk about it so that other young people going through the same struggles can navigate that with help, knowing that there's help out there, knowing that there's somebody who understands how they feel.
But
Okay.
have you realized that persons in the Caribbean usually want to talk like other countries, and those persons in the other countries, so say for instance like the US, they want to talk like us in the Caribbean. So there are times when, and we want to look like them and they want to look like us. So it is a good thing that you're able to identify who you are and accept who you really are. You know, for whatever skin color that you are blessed with, you maintain it and keep it. So I really think you're doing a very good job. You know,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, I was listening to a few of your poems, you know, in and out, and you're doing good. I also realized that you were blessed with some awards. Now, in terms of accepting an award, which is the highest award that you have been graced with so far?
Locally,
Go ahead.
Locally, I have received a NIFCA Bronze Award in Writing and Performance. That was for the piece that I just did actually on Brain Drain. That's the highest one I've gotten locally thus far. But internationally, I have came second in an international poetry competition by Black British writers. And that poem is basically talking about the conversation that occurs between my Black identity and my Caribbean identity and what that dysphoria looks like. And then I'm also currently very, very proud to be ranked number 21 women's slam poet in the world. And that was the first time I ever entered an international slam, which was Women of the World Poetry Slam, this past April. So those are the highest awards that I've achieved, and 2 of them were this year.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know that usually when poets write different poems and stuff like that, the one that is being airplayed the most, or persons hear that one, it doesn't mean that that's their favorite. Now, which one is your favorite that you have written?
My favorite poem that I have written has actually changed quite recently. So my favorite poem that I had written up to probably about a month ago, I want to say, is Badu, which was played at the beginning. Was played at the beginning of the show, which is about the conversation of taking pride in your Black hair as a woman. But now I have a currently unreleased poem on climate change that is my new favorite that I wrote. I think I wrote it at the end of June. I don't want to fib, but I believe I wrote it at the end of June. And funny enough, I don't usually give myself a lot of credit for writing poetry. I just say, oh, I like this, or I will pick out a few lines that I like, but I don't go, this is a really great poem, like immediately. Sometimes I have to work myself up to that.
Okay.
But when I immediately say this is a great poem, it's probably a favorite. So that happened with when I wrote Badu, and that happened with when I wrote this piece that I'm talking about now.
So do you prefer performing or writing?
I like performing. I really do. I enjoy what performance feels like, because with writing, and especially if I'm writing for page, because I kind of sort of differentiate. But with writing for page, I know that there is going to be a reader, but I don't know what the reader's reactions, because I can't see them. With performing, I get to see and feel what the vibe of the reaction is from the crowd. That's something I really value in my creative process.
Okay, very good. Very good. So continue employing the world, because you're doing a great job already. So don't you dare drop that pen. Sorry, we're not using pen anymore. Don't stop typing.
Texting.
I'm a pen poet. I will sit down and write pens out. Just yesterday I was writing a poetry script and my pen ran out of ink. So clearly I use my pen more.
Long time I haven't heard anyone say them pen run out of ink.
My pen ran out of ink.
You're doing a lot of writing then, man.
doing a lot of writing. Right.
It's funny,
So
you know.
how are you inspired? Sorry, how
Go
are you
ahead.
inspired? Is it that you just see something out there, or you're inspired by things around you, or things that has happened to you directly or indirectly?
All of the above. I'm inspired by watching people. I'm inspired by conversations I hear in public while I'm catching the bus. I'm inspired by stuff I see on the news. I'm inspired by poets in my circle.
That's right.
There's no end to the inspiration.
Right.
If I'm awake, I'm inspired, which is a wonderful place to be.
Very good. Very good. Go ahead, Franco.
I was going to ask her about linguistic program that she did, because I know a female, she was a female DJ in Jamaica, and she was studying linguistic, and then she went to Barbados to work as a professor. I don't know if Cyndi has ever come across her, but she used to go by the stage name Gemstone, right? And I can't remember her real name, because I used to get her tracks them as her artist name, Gemstone. But it's funny, she was also mentioned one time when I have her on a talk program about the way how she speaks. She was saying that, we Jamaicans speaks patois, and society don't want us to use it as our main language, or part of our culture. They rather push the colonial master language on us, same way English. So I heard you mention a little bit of that. You used to wonder how how you speak. Was that the reason why you went into to do major into linguistic?
No, actually. I went into linguistics because I was intending to do, like I said in Brain Drain, I was intending to do speech therapy at the time. And overseas university is expensive. So I went to my local university, and they don't offer speech therapy here. So I did linguistics, which is still within the same realm.
Okay.
And I think a lot of the unlearning that allowed me to start writing the type of poetry I write now began with doing linguistics at UE. It serendipitous, because I didn't go there for that. I went there for one thing and came up with something completely different. So I always keep my linguistics degree near and dear to my heart because of that. Because I remember my first intro to language class, and I made the mistake of saying something that I'd been, conditioned to believe. So I said something like proper English in class, and the lecturer looked at me and she said, "No, there's no such thing as proper English. That's a very colonial thing. That's a very colonial way of thinking. There's standard English, and there are different dialects of English." And from then began the change that allows me to comfortably switch between standard English and Bajan English. That allows me to appreciate the styles of other poets across the Caribbean, like Trinidadian poets, Jamaican poets. When I hear, and dub poets especially, when I hear them using their native dialect, and it becomes so much more real and visceral for me, because this is a person that's performing in the comfort of their identity. And that's the sort of representation that the Caribbean needs to have, because we don't want it to be a case where we are always being represented by the people that are outside of our experience. So America, the UK, etc. But yeah, that's why I started studying linguistics, because I wanted to do speech therapy, and then I came out with a better understanding of why I speak the way I speak, why it's relevant, and why it's valuable.
True. Before we run out of time with you this morning, can you freestyle Badu for me?
um,
No, we start off the
you
program.
wanted to put me on the spot. It's okay.
No, me love it, me love it, me love it, me love it because I was listening to Badu and I was listening to my native language, and the other one I think one named something another talk like tuk talk something like that.
Talk, yeah.
Yeah, talk, yeah. But I like Badu because it's describing females in general, not
What? So I am raring to hear this one now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for you.
Yeah,
We don't want.
no,
We don't want.
I'm
We don't want to play the
cheering you
track.
on. I
No
wanna
more. We don't
hear
want to play the track no more. You understand me? Since we have the artist, the artist just freestyle it this morning. Take it away, Cyndi. It's all yours.
Black people ain't the only ones who've been living without our roots. Those unripe fruits they reap by backcombing their entitlement, trying to create afros without the hardship, caricaturing the symbol of Black existence, teasing tension into their experience that they know nothing about. Can I touch your hair, Black girl? They say the highest form of flattery is imitation. But am I still meant to feel complimented when it becomes cultural appropriation? Can I touch your hair, Black girl? Black Medusa. I want to know how them coils be casting spells. How that Black girl nappy curl magic be flipping the script, hypnotizing the menfolk and turning white hearts into stone statues. Can I touch your hair, Black girl? Black and Samsonite. I want to know how it marries religion and science. I want to know how that fro has such an undying devotion to defying gravity, how it tells every comb to genuflect, how it can bring sinners to their knees, how it always seems to be wearing its Sunday best. I want to have a faith as strong as your hair, Black girl. I want to hear the stories them strands could string together. But they want us to relax, Black girl. They don't want us to recall, Black girl. They don't want the reminders, Black girl. Can I tame your hair, Black girl? I only want to reverse engineer you for the sake of familiarity. Only want to break you down to your component parts so I can see your secrets properly. They only care about our coils as another one of their commodities. Take the Zulu out of your Bantu knots and call them mini buns for profit. Make us into a fashion trend from our roots to our ends when they quick to rot them faux locks, but call the real things knots. And ain't it funny? Ain't it amazing how people historically obsessed with whips and chains and bondage got the audacity to kink shame you, Black girl? Can I see your hair, Black girl? It's just as easy to jack our culture when we hide from it. But I want to know why it takes up so much space. Don't know why it always seems to forget its place, Black girl. Remember when they told us to keep it under wraps? And up to now, they're still trying to 1786. The sass put that thing on and remember that the class you're in is a function of the color of your skin. Keep quiet, Black girl. Damn. Why everything about your hair gotta be a throwback? When they just want us to relax, Black girl. They don't want us to retell, Black girl. They don't want the reminders, Black girl. They done already gentrified generations of traditions to try and sugarcoat mass murder and plantation labor. Slap designer labels on our struggles like they're still trying to turn us human beings into capital and we in the ones reaping the profit margins. Because cultural appropriation is the currency they pay us reparations in. They have taken from us and they still taking our cornrows and calling them boxer braids, anything to see us erased, Black girl. They want to force us to forget. But I remember, Black girl. I remember the brawn and them braids and how it ain't got nothing to do with boxed in thinking and everything to do with breaking the box with our bare hands. I remember, Black girl, how they tried to cloth tie our heads, how we adorned the shackles they made for our hair with bright colors and beads, how we wear our history on our heads, in our hearts, and on our sleeves. It ain't a thing y'all no more. Now, when we put that thing on, we breathe free. Our crown is revolutionary. So let me ask you, can we love our hair, Black girl? Thank you.
Well, this one is a bombshell.
Well, this one is a bombshell.
Boom blast. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like it so much because I think was it last year, right? There was an incident that took place in Jamaica about a young Black girl, and her hair, and her parents got involved with the school board. I don't know if you remember that, Francine.
Yes, I did hear about that actually.
And we did a piece on it called Here with Pam Hall and Teddy Laidley. And, it was a riveting discussion about Here. Well, I was told that the court reversed their decision, but the school also, kind of reversed their decision. Because, the court can say one thing, but the institution, can do another thing unless it's, really something that, is law of the land. So when I heard that piece, I was like, yeah, man, I hate this.
It's so funny because she mentioned something about going into university. I think it was the linguistic side of it and come out with something different. She went to study one thing and come out with another. And yeah, it's amazing to know. It's amazing because I had a patient who once said that to me, she went into thinking she was going to have a girl, and when she looked as a boy, she came out with, And so at the end of the day, we are who we are. We were made like this, and we need to appreciate who we are. And I'm so happy that you are viewing in, you're zooming in on these type of this aspect, this area. I'm happy that you're doing it. And I want you to keep it up. Encourage those persons who don't know who they are. If you're a man, you're a man. If you're a female, you're a female. There is no if, there is no but. If you're black, you're black. I said, go. This is how you were born. So I'm happy that you're doing this. Keep it up. Go, Cyndi. I'm in your corner. I'm cheering.
Thank you so much.
Cyndi, so what's your entrepreneur business all about now?
I am a full-time creative entrepreneur, so I write for a living. That's what I do. I write and perform.
Oh,
so
man,
yeah.
I thought you had some clothing lines and some, products and everything. But that's good because guess what? we need black writers.
Yeah, we need Caribbean writers.
Exactly. We need to write our
writers.
own history. Yeah. So at least we can say we have a writer that can start writing about us. So that everything can be about us, by us. So that's good. That's very good. Flavius.
Yeah.
Okay. Any question for Cyndi before we get out of here?
No question. I was just saying to you that the whole ear thing came up again last week in schools.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Well, throw it out there, make we hear what happened.
I don't know. I think some school is keeping students away from school because of the ear in particular and of their whole dress code, in general.
Okay.
And of course, yeah, it is going to be a big thing. I think they're even going to Parliament with it because they have to pass some serious law about what the schools can do and what other people can do, and and there's a lot of argument about what is proper dress, and mostly have to do with your hair.
I see.
If you have bumpy head or whatever, what is acceptable? A lot of people are saying if we look anywhere African, it's a problem to some schools. If the girls them straighten them ear and whatever, everything is fine.
I hear you.
So that is taking us back, way back. It's like regressed.
I see Frank have joined in. Top of the morning, Frank. Frank Jilks. How you doing, sir?
Hey, good morning.
Welcome. We have a young poet here with us this morning, Cyndi.
Yeah. Yep.
Is there anything you want to say to her?
I just got the message. So I better join. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I hope I didn't miss any of their reading or anything. And he's
well, Chef, one more piece left before we go. So you definitely won't miss this one.
yeah.
At least one, yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I mean, Cyndi, it was a pleasure having you this morning with us, right? And before you leave, we wanted, to let you know that continue to do what you're doing, inspire young people same way, so that we can get more young people start writing, performing, expressing themselves in this manner, as best as they can. You have the button, you can pass it on. It's a relay. So, I'm sure that as you perform, go out and do your performances, you're looking for to help others who have gotten inspired because of a particular word or something that you said, and you can help them along the way as well. So just continue.
For sure.
Yeah, continue
Thank
doing
you
what you're doing.
so much for having me. It was fun being here. I definitely look forward to hearing more about the Caribbean youth voices and seeing if I can help in any way, because like you said, we need more Caribbean voices.
Definitely.
Oh yes.
And if you have any young poet that you can we call it, send them our direction, so that
for sure, definitely.
And just to let you know, it's not Caribbean Youth Voices is not only about poetry and poets. It's about the youths, everything Caribbean.
Awesome.
Yeah, everything Caribbean. So all aspects of Caribbean life that the youth is going through now, that is where we are going. We're giving the youth a forum.
Yeah,
awesome.
They can express themselves. Yes.
And we're going to follow you. We're going to follow you on your social media pages so we can see what you're doing and encourage you. See this, and encourage you a lot. But before we leave, show us another one. No?
So I wrote a what I call Badu's baby brother, because I realized that Badu is about Black women's hair, so I wrote one about Black men's hair.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes a little something like this. Tell me about your hair, Black boy. I might already be well versed in writing odes to 4C queens, but maybe I want to write a new song about the way you wear your crown. Tell me about your waves, Black boy. Tell me about the way you alternate between boar bristle and horsehair brushes, balancing your softness with your toughness. Tell me how your nighttime ritual ripples histories across your scalp. How your do-rag be caressing them follicles. Tell me about your fade, Black boy. Tell me about the barbershop quartets of clippers and scissors snipping sonnets up your neck. Tell me which design you may ask your barber to carve in next. Tell me about your sanctity. How you ain't gonna choose another chair and not another barber than this one gonna touch your hair. Tell me how you guard your crown, Black boy. Tell me about your baby dreads, about your locks, your cornrows. Show me how you pack in and compacting that fro, how when you pick it out is long past your nose. Tell me how shrinkage ain't shrinkage. It's just your hair challenging folks to look beyond the surface. Tell me how your choir boys sing, Black boy. How them goat rolls run in circles with sponges to spring, Black boy. Tell me about your beard balms and your stash combs, how your hairline be sharp and straight just like your backbone, because I want to know, Black boy. Tell me how, Black boy. Tell me how to love you just the way you are. Thank you.
Yeah, it's something that's there for.
Tell me how to love your Black boy. I love that line. Wow. Black man loving different,
Black man what?
Black man loving different.
Yeah, man. Cyndi, you're the bomb. But thank you very much for taking time out this morning, and for spending some time with us. And so,
thank you for having me and sharing this space with me. It was such a wonderful time being here.
And we're going to invite you forward. We're going to invite you forward.
Be a regular guest, to help us with the Caribbean Youth Voices.
That sounds great. That sounds wonderful. I'm very excited now.
We have the booking team link you up, okay? So
we will.
The booking team will deal with it.
Yeah, we'll send you stuff shortly.
And
Awesome. Okay.
Yellow Prime Minister and the crew from me, right?
And,
For sure. For
and
sure.
I Pharrell, yeah, and
I Pharrell, you know,
The
all
whole Bajan poetry family.
the whole gang,
yeah.
you know, the whole gang, the whole troop, the whole
Yeah, man.
posse, whatever you call them. All right, and just be safe.
You as well.
All right, my dear. Take care. One love.
One love.
Pride is not my native language. For far too long, subservience has been the saliva of my people, inundating our mouths with submission to unteach us of the rebel blood running through our veins. Pride is not my native language. They tied our tongues when they shackled us, chained our Manipura chakras and infiltrated the links in our DNA with a super strain of, yes, massa bacteria. Pride is not my native language. It becomes so easily stuck in our throats like the sounds we do not know or remember, like the fevered pulse of Igbo, Koromanti, and Ashantiwa, like the ashes they have raised to ashes that can only rise again as phoenix in hushed tones. Pride is not my native language. It has been systematically erased and replaced with words that match the color of the public face and align with the facades of a freedom that we fake rather than feel. Pride is not my native language. It was silenced in slave raids and Middle Passage suicides. It was sold dirt cheap and beaten to its knees. It was subhumanized into endangerment, then whipped to death. Pride is not my native language. We do not know what it is to be content with who we are, only to be satisfied with the image of us we have been taught and shown long enough to believe it is truth. Pride is not my native language. But curricula attempt haphazardly to reinstill the morals of a pride which they cannot describe accurately.
Yes, indeed.
Into self-loathing is too far.
You heard it right here this morning on our Poetry Corner. Cyndi Celeste.
Yes.
So with that, we're getting out of here. We thank you for taking time out this morning. We thank all those in the chat room who've been burning down the chat room this morning. We see people like Antara is there, Prime Minister is there, who else is there? Tyler is there, and also Mark is there. So all those who participated, those who didn't, we thank you. We ask you that you like, share, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and tell a friend to tell a friend that, yeah, this is the place where you want to get good poetry, where you want to get good Caribbean information, news, whatever Caribbean is right here, son, the Real Stuff Podcast. Francine over there.
I'm right here.
Wanted to wrap it up for us.
Once again, this was an amazing morning. We want to thank everyone for being here. I am so happy that I could have joined in, and it was simply just one of the best mornings ever. Let us continue to empower each other. Let us continue to motivate each other and keep strong and know that we are in this thing together.
Thank you. Frank, we thank you this morning, Frank, for being here with us. And continue to be a friend and spread the message. So thank you, Frank.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
All right.
I had some issues with the internet, but I'm still glad I got it.
I know. All right, man. So you have a good day, my brother.
Yes.
One love,
Okay,
yeah.
brother. Yep.
And Flavius.
Yeah, man. It is amazing. It's amazing the poets and other people that come onto to the show, Caribbean people, speaking about us, ourselves, and that is so wonderful. I think this is a long time was needed in the Caribbean, where we have full Caribbean content. We don't have to import anything from anywhere. We have the people to give us full Caribbean content for our Caribbean people. I think it is wonderful.
All right. And so we ask that you join us on Monday when we do it all over again. And want to say, remember that prayer changes things regardless of what religion you belong to. Continue to pray and keep on praying. And so we ask Queen Lubafu to get us out of here with our Father in the Garifuna language, and Tafina to take us out.
You lead us to Fula. You belong far away away. Ajuguala Lebabu Seru. Lida Mua, Lida Sungfula. Lida Mua, Lida Sungfula.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
All you gotta do is just speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer so rough. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna
unfortunately, this is
But
it.
you look
Till
good
next
for
time.
me.
Bless.
That's why me know I send me a pick a flee. Me have to take away me